that the motion be agreed to. I call the member for Wentworth.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and can I congratulate the members who've just spoken, and in particular the member for Gippsland, on moving this motion about the surf life saving movement. Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm honoured to represent some of the oldest surf clubs in Australia, in the Eastern Suburbs of Sydney, and indeed the oldest surf club in Australia. However, it would be a controversial statement for me to say which of the several claimants to be the oldest surf club was indeed the oldest surf club. The Bronte Surf Club has a very good claim to have been founded in 1903, although we note that the first recorded minutes of its meeting are in 1907, although the minutes claim to be the fourth meeting, so presumably it was founded in 1903, and there was a life-saving training began at Bronte in the late 19th century, in fact, modelled on English life-saving techniques. But also, of course, there is my own club, founded in 1906, North Bondi Surf Club. Bondi Surf Club, which is the club in the middle of the beach, or Bondi Surf Bathers Life-Saving Club, to give it its full name, also lays claim to being the oldest club, but it was founded in 1907. And Tamarama, of course, was founded in 1904, and just south of the electorate, literally just on the other side of the boundary, is the Clovelly Club, 1904, and Coogee, of course, in 1907. So life-saving began really in the eastern suburbs, surf life-saving in the eastern suburbs of Sydney in the early years of the 20th century, but the mists of time and the tact required to be the local member requires me not to go any further into resolving the controversy. I can only say that my own club does not claim to be the oldest club, so I'm quite impartial about it. Now, the work that surf lifesavers do in making our beaches safe is of such enormous importance to the recreation, to the physical fitness, to our whole Australian way of life. On the coasts of it, without diminishing the lifestyles of people who live in the inland. Most Australians live on the coast, and most Australians have a really symbiotic relationship with the water. And that was a big change, of course, because when the country was settled, certainly when the settlement was established in Sydney, the Aboriginal inhabitants were not keen swimmers. They were terrified of sharks, quite rightly so, and that's why you see in Sydney Harbour there are plenty of points and beaches and islands called Shark This and Shark That. A lot of them have had their names changed, presumably to promote tourism, but there are a lot of places named after sharks, and there are a lot of sharks, so there was a fair bit of anxiety. But we've progressed from that and become absolutely connected to the water, and all of my earliest memories growing up in Sydney involve swimming, surfing, paddling things, sailing on things, riding on boards, constantly in the water. And I was inducted into this North Bondi Surf Club literally as a baby. By the time I could barely walk, my father Bruce was taking me down to North Bondi Surf Club, and it was there that I did my bronze medallion, my instructor certificate, and I even saved someone's life on one occasion, which was a remarkable experience. But it's a remarkable institution, the surf clubs, because they are completely egalitarian. And of course they're now co-ed. They weren't in my day, but they're now men and women members. They connect the oldest members. Some of the old members of North Bondi Surf Club, some of them were old men when I was a kid, or at least I thought they were. They're probably about my age now. But anyway, they're still there, preserved by the salt air. And of course then you've got the nippers, the very young kids. But the interesting thing from a social point of view, I always used to find, and I still do, is that in a surf club you get people from every single background. And because they are either in their swimming trunks or wearing nothing in the showers, No one can put on any side. It doesn't matter whether it's a Supreme Court judge or a captain of industry or a garbo or a teacher, a policeman, someone in the schmutters business, of course. There's a big Jewish membership in my electorate. And so you get a complete diversity. And it was that sort of diversity that I grew up with. And if there was one social experience that made me what I am today, it was my involvement with the surf clubs, because I literally met, from being a little boy up to a man, I met people from every single background. There was nobody. You couldn't think of a profession or a background or a racial background or religious background that was not represented, and in an environment where everyone had a common interest. And it was what Robert Putnam, the great American sociologist, called bridging social capital, because it brought people, instead of reinforcing people's particular groups like a Catholic group or a Jewish group or lawyers or doctors, you brought everybody in together and we're all mixing together. So it is the surf life-saving movement, apart from the lives that are saved and apart from the millions of people that enjoy our beaches and are able to do so safely because of the work of the lifesavers, the life-saving movement is one of the key elements in that egalitarianism that is so important for our Australian society. It is that non-deferential culture of Australia that life-saving really enables, and in a way, because of the environment, because of the common cause, because of the inevitable informality of associating with people, in swimming and surfing and so forth, it really breaks down all sorts of barriers. I mean, the number of times, I've bumped into people that I know from either from the beach, in town, and you sort of don't quite recognise each other. And a number of times people will say, "Oh, yeah, of course, because I didn't recognise you with your clothes on." Now, a passerby would think that was might read something improper into that, but it is a wonderful thing. Now, can I just say a couple of things about a particular matter on a somewhat more political note? The North Bondi Surf Club is the largest surf club in Australia. There are two surf clubs on Bondi Beach, which is obviously the biggest beach in terms of patronage and in notoriety, fame or whatever, but certainly the most visited beach, and therefore the most challenging from a management point of view. So the two surf clubs, North Bondi at the north end of the beach, naturally, and Bondi in the middle of the beach next to the pavilion. And North Bondi's building has been falling down for quite some years, and the club resolved some time ago that it really needed to replace it. And so as things were getting, the discussions and planning was getting underway, in 2007, John Howard, then Prime Minister, pledged $1.7 million to that rebuilding program, which is a very, very good commitment, and I think would have created a fantastic precedent in terms of strong federal support for surf life-saving. Regrettably, in what I can only describe as a spiteful decision, that grant was revoked and nothing was put in its place. The club, undaunted by that, has raised $5 million, $750,000 from Waverley Council, $450,000 from the state government, and the rest from private donations and fundraising done by the club. And I should disclose that Lucy and I have supported the club as donors. The project's going to cost $6.2 million, so there's still more money to be raised, and it will be an iconic building, but it will be a very elegant building, but on an important location. But of course, it will also enable the club and its members, and I might say the club has over 540 patrolling senior members, 1,000 nippers, and overall membership of over 2,000. This is a big club doing a big job on a big beach, but it is going to be able to do that through the generosity of the community and, of course, of its members. Now, all around Australia, surf clubs are facing these sort of challenges, and it is a matter of great regret I would say, is that at the time the Rudd government was spending money on stimulus and building school halls and so forth, whether they were needed or not, it didn't actually put some substantial funds towards the surf clubs of Australia.
The member's time has expired.